Okay. So, hello, whatever time it is, wherever you are. For me, it's morning. and, where do we go? Where do we go from here? It's been a week. It's been a year. It's been a decade. It's been a life. This is not me complaining or venting it's me mystified by how this realm works. Still mystified at age 55. More mystified than when I was a kid and, innocent, naive, and what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, not raped. It's a good goal. And I don't think most of us, achieve that goal. It's weird. It's a weird purgatory, rapey realm. So that's just talking off the top of my head. What's triggering it now? Well, the fake Epstein suicide note, because come on, Time to Say Goodbye is an Andrea Bocelli song, and it's a signal, and it's not a real suicide note, in my opinion. Why would they sit on it this long while everybody was theorizing about Epstein killed himself? No, he didn't. Yes, he did. No, he was murdered. No, he wasn't. Blech. There's no reason they would have sat on this for this long unless they were strategically doing that to release it at a time where they could loosh people and confuse people and harvest, our outrage, So it's all so boring now and so ridiculous and so insane and so gross, It's just, it gets that way every year this goes on, where nobody's arrested except Ghislaine, just come on, it's just so stupid. It's so utterly evil and stupid. And so what's the silver lining? I'm always looking for that, right? Like, what's the good that comes out of this? What's the benefit? So the benefit is, I tried to start a mental health empowerment movement years and years ago. I had a blueprint. I sent it to Oprah. I sent it to Ellen. I sent it to stupid Jared Leto, of all people, thinking they were going to be helpful in implementing parts of the plan. I laid it all out. I had it written down and very clear about there was a prison component, healthcare, and nursing homes and everything to just shine a spotlight on mental health. What did they do? They modified it. They took the original idea. They took it from the original co-creator and they hijacked and distorted it and piecemealed it and ruined it, right? Because that was the idea that was downloaded through this vessel, through this person, through this voice. And so they bastardized it and they profited from it. And they love to diagnose people and they love to throw medication at people and they love to make people feel like they're special because they have mental health problems. When in fact, this whole entire realm is designed to make you crazy and then call you crazy and then give you a label and then give you, something to numb yourself out. And, it's rigged, it's staged, it's bullshit. It just is. It's a Masonic ploy to make you feel less than, to keep you in enslavement, to keep you feeling off kilter and off center, to dismiss and invalidate your genuine emotions and to siphon you and censor you. And they feel super threatened by anybody who gets onto their game and who understands how genuinely gross, evil, and dark and nasty and slimy they truly are. Now, when I see these things, people look at me like deer in the headlights. Like, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to know it, and they don't want to have to face or deal with it. That's fine. I get it. That's cognitive dissonance, we call that, okay? And it just means that your programming is starting to glitch, and that's a good thing, actually. When you say, I don't watch the news. I don't listen to that. I don't pay attention to celebrities. I don't care. You are effectively then extensively saying you don't care about what this cabal does to children. That's what you're actually saying. What I think you're trying to say is, I don't have capacity for that. I can't. I have enough problems of my own. I have to deal with what's right in front of me. I can't think about babies in cages being raped 20 times a day. I get it. We've all been there when you're first, being either black pilled or red pilled or purple pilled or whatever the heck it is these days. Doom scrolling, they even have terms for it, right? So I kind of call it hope scrolling. Yes, you're kind of seeing what is the play, what is the narrative, what is the curated lie of the day, and what is the cowardly, cruel way they're going to communicate it in threatening and aggressive headlines, and how are they trying to fearmonger through the fake news and through the movies and through the songs and all the things. So once you're aware and some level of awake, not woke, then you actually do want to know what's going on so you can be part of the solution rather than be in spiritual bypassing or putting your head in the sand or just taking the path of least resistance, which can be a good thing sometimes. But, you're just prolonging the inevitable, which is what, the meltdowns and the tantrums inside, probably, because we all have them, that you're going to have when you realize that you have been fooling yourself by trying to avoid hard and ugly truths because they just bring your energy down. And what does that serve? And how is it productive? And just had a big discussion with someone about all this. And it was very frustrating. And I was very triggered and it was very upsetting. And I went and cried about it. I said, go cry about it. I did. I cried about it. Not because of the disconnect and the miscommunication that was happening with this particular person, because that's something I've gotten my whole life. It's just, I call it a program. And then there's different people who show up as the delivery system for that program. They look at you like you have 9 heads. They don't want to deal with it. They want to change the subject. They want you to shut up. They want you to not be so intense. And they are threatened for whatever reason that they think you're going to disturb their peace by telling them the real truth that they're just not ready to face. Their brain can't go there. Their heart can't go there. Their conscience, wants to keep them shielded from having to face it and then possibly deal with it, whatever it brings up for them. So that's trauma. That's dissociation. That's projection. That's distortion. That's all the things, right? If you want to go psychology, if you want to go spiritual and emotional, it's these power struggles between light and dark, truth and lies, and programming and sovereign freedom of consciousness, right? So I'm always astounded at how we can all be so different. And that's a good thing. Ultimately, I do think it's a good thing. But I know I've been different. I've known that since I was 9. I didn't know why or how I was. I didn't know that, my nanny used to say it was special. That's a word that could go lots of ways. And I don't want to put myself in an autism box or in an OCD box or a bipolar box or any of these other boxes that people who meet you for like 5 minutes or maybe a whole hour, want to throw pills at your head and have you talk therapy every fucking feeling you ever had to death. So I love therapy. I'm a fan. I've been in it and out of it since I was 15, but I also think you have to graduate certain times from certain practitioners and therapists because they can only go so far. A lot of them can't go to the mystical, metaphysical place. They can't. A lot of people can't. It's too abstract for them. It's too scary. It's too weird, and that's fine. But, I like to film people when I talk about certain things and when they just don't agree but can't even hold space for you to talk. Because, whatever happened to agree to disagree, not to shut down a conversation or a person, but to get to a common ground in the middle, where and I'm also having resentments where I realize I've held space for people and listened to people complain and whine and vent and moan to me. And someone was like, well, that's your job. And you chose that job. Yes, that's a job that I get paid for. But people do it outside of that structure and trauma dump on me all the time. And then when I have a moment, God forbid I have a moment, then it's just not reciprocated. And so that was a disappointment that I had recently. But it was a good catalyst for me to see you can't need or rely or trust anyone on this planet. That sounds cynical, I know, but it's actually factual and it's human fallibility. And you have to learn to, kind of pull yourself up by your emotional and spiritual bootstraps. And now we are interdependent beings because I had to rely on the Amazon driver to bring me my bamboo toilet paper, and somebody made that in a factory, and someone picked the bamboo in a field. So we are all interwoven and interdependent. So we do have to trust and rely on people for some basic things. But as far as for your emotional needs getting met, or somebody hearing you, or understanding you, or wanting to, or trying to, that's not a guarantee in this life. And it's something to let go of. And it's somewhat of a painful process to go, wow. So I, will sit here and listen to people talk about their problems, hand them tissues, give them hope, give them new perspectives. And yes, that is my job, and I did choose it, and I do get paid for it. And then I guess where that bleeds into my daily life of how much energy I've expended or continue to expend on people who don't care, who don't care to know about my traumas or my issues that I'm facing or dealing with, because they just can't. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. Again, you get that deer in the headlights thing, and it's just unsatisfying and frustrating in both directions. But here's what can be inspiring about it. You don't need them to. You detach from all expectations. I know it's very Buddhist, and it makes me even roll my eyes and want to puke. And everyone wants to go anxious attachment style, avoidant attachment style, secure attachment style. I mean, come on. That's all also just putting you more in boxes and labels and, keeping you stuck in looping. Maybe it liberates you and maybe it gives you freedom. Like, oh, that's what's wrong with me. Maybe that makes you feel good. It doesn't make me feel good. Again, it's okay for us to be different. But, when people rattle off a series of either medical or mental diagnoses, I think, oh, they got you. They got you by the balls. They got you by the titties. They got you. They got you good because you're letting professionals tell you who you are instead of figuring it out for yourself. Or you're letting, the news tell you what to care about instead of figuring that out for yourself. So I get it. I get that everybody's at where they're at with their levels of consciousness and their desire to know more. I've always had a great hunger in my heart to know, and in my mind to know truth. And that's just really important to me. Always has been and always will be. And anyone who I want close to me in my life, I think will have the similar values and operating system. And anyone who prefers deception, distortion, passive-aggressive communication or behaviors can just go pound sand. Really. You live and learn, You live and you learn. Sometimes you can repair, and sometimes people can surprise you pleasantly, and oftentimes they will let you down. And you have to just go, well, I had an expectation then, and I had a hope that they would, operate with empathy and kindness and generosity of spirit, and just listen. Just listen. That's advice I get all the time when I'm in sessions or not in sessions. It's like, shut up and listen. And it's not mean. It's kind. It's gentle. It's like, you don't need to talk. You can just be quiet and absorb, or not absorb, but just be there. Be a field of love for somebody. So I guess I've realized I've been looking for that, and I haven't found it. And, you're not supposed to look outside yourself and la la la. But I feel like if you offer it, you have, somewhat of a reasonable wish for it to be reciprocated. But then I've realized it probably isn't going to be reciprocated through the people you give it to, because they're struggling too, and they don't know how to, how to reflect for somebody else. And maybe that's their upbringing, their trauma, their capacity, their ability to, stretch their mind beyond their comfort zone, whatever the reason. I realized that is not an operating system that I feel comfortable or safe with personally. So, but there are great people in my life, and they weave in and out. Some of them are more acquaintance, friend or client friend, or like I have, wobbly boundaries sometimes on that. I'll admit that. But I'm just ready for more people who want to live deep. And that doesn't mean like the no small talk thing, because that's another deflection, because people do start with small talk, like, hey, can you believe that snow melted so fast? Colorado's great. We were so spoiled by the sun. You can talk to somebody like that, and then all of a sudden it could be, talking about the weather for agriculture, or talking about the weather for, disasters and how people come together around that. Or so there's no such thing as small talk. There's just small minds and small people, okay, who don't know how to connect to others, and then want to pretend they're in this pretentious ivory tower of they're too good for small talk, right? So there's no small talk. It's all big talk. It's all real talk, except fake stuff. And we just move away from that. We swerve it, and we go deeper into the real. And if it's too intense for people, they say, if I'm too much, go find less. It's a great, great philosophy to live by. All right. Big hugs and love, and drop a little comment on your thoughts and what you're going through with all this. Are you finding that people are disappointing with their emotional capacity? Are you finding people are getting more savvy, more awake, and more aware of how we operate as emotional, people and beings, and that we're getting more sensitive around that? Is it too much? Is the gentle parenting gonna create a generation of emotionally intelligent people or spoiled, entitled brats? Where are we at with all this stuff? That's my Gen X mind wandering and meandering of, I did grow up with hearing parents say things like, I'll give you something to cry about, or I'll put you through the wall, or whatever, right? And then I had very kind and generous and loving people in my life too. So you get these mixed signals. It's hard to sometimes decode someone's intentions if they're not clear with them, or if their actions don't match their words, So we live and we learn through disappointment and frustration, and we learn through joy and grace and laughter, and disconnect and reconnect. We learn and we grow, and if we don't, then we keep it moving. Love you. Love you. Don't know you, but I love you. And that's okay too, right? You can love strangers sometimes more than you can love people you see all the time. That's understandable. And they can love you from a pure place, without baggage or without history or without, any kind of scorekeeping or whatever. So I keep trying to sign off, but I just have more to say, I guess. Not that anybody, all 4 of you that are listening, I love you. Bye.